My beloved child. There is a reason your heart paused when these words found you. You have been asking questions that no one else could hear. Questions you whispered into quiet rooms, carried through sleepless nights, and buried beneath polite smiles. One question has returned again and again: how does this person truly feel about me? I, Michael, stand beside you not to satisfy every curiosity, but to calm the fear that uncertainty has planted inside your soul. Heaven does not delight in confusion. When the time is right, what has been hidden is brought gently into the light. And I tell you now, the truth about this person's heart is becoming clearer than it has ever been before. You have mistaken silence for absence. You have believed that delayed answers meant forgotten love. Yet many things that appear still on the surface are quietly moving beneath, just as a river continues to flow even when morning fog hides its waters. Do not let your imagination write stories that God has not written. There were moments when disappointment convinced you that every unanswered message, every awkward conversation, every unexpected distance was the final chapter. But heaven has never asked you to judge the entire story from one difficult page. I have watched you carry hope with trembling hands. I have also watched you prepare yourself for heartbreak before heartbreak ever arrived. Those are two very different burdens. One comes from love. The other comes from fear. And fear has spoken loudly enough. Think of a lighthouse standing against a storm. The waves crash without mercy. The wind howls through the darkness. To the sailors far away, everything seems uncertain except one steady light that refuses to move. God's truth is like that light. Feelings may become complicated. Circumstances may change. People may struggle to express what rests inside them. But truth remains unmoved. The person you continue thinking about has been fighting battles you cannot fully see. Not every silence is rejection. Sometimes silence is the language of someone trying to understand their own heart before speaking carelessly. That does not excuse every action. Nor does it promise every relationship will unfold exactly as you desire. Yet it reminds you that only God sees every hidden room inside another person's soul. Remember how Jesus often looked beyond what everyone else could see. While crowds judged appearances, he saw hearts. While others rushed to conclusions, he responded with wisdom and compassion. Ask yourself gently: have you been seeing this person through the lens of fear? Or through the eyes of faith? Those are not the same. Faith does not ignore reality. Faith simply refuses to let anxiety become reality. There is a quiet change already taking place. Perhaps you cannot measure it today. Perhaps you cannot explain it. But clarity often arrives long before words do. A sunrise never asks permission from the darkness. It simply appears. Soon enough, everyone realizes the night has ended. In much the same way, what has been hidden inside this person's heart is slowly moving toward the surface. Layers of uncertainty are being peeled away. Confusion is losing its grip. What once felt impossible to understand is beginning to make sense, even if you cannot yet see every piece of the picture. This is why I ask you not to force answers. Do not chase what God is already bringing into the light. Do not pressure what heaven is gently preparing. A fruit pulled from its branch too early cannot satisfy the hunger it was meant to fill. Ecclesiastes reminds us that there is a time for every matter under heaven. Those words are not merely poetry. They are a promise that God understands timing better than any human heart ever could. You have measured time by waiting. God measures time by readiness. There is a difference. While you have wondered whether this person's feelings were fading, something unexpected has been happening. Reflection has been replacing confusion. Small moments they once overlooked now return to their memory. Conversations that seemed ordinary have gained new meaning. Your presence has become more significant than they realized before. Not because you became someone different, but because clarity has begun its quiet work. Sometimes distance reveals value more clearly than constant closeness ever could. If these words have found the place in your heart that has remained hidden from everyone else, quietly write Amen below. Not to convince God of anything, but as a simple expression that you are choosing peace over panic and trust over fear. Stay close, beloved. The next truth I will reveal is not only about what this person feels. It is about why heaven allowed the uncertainty to last this long, and how God has been working in both hearts during the silence in ways neither of you could have imagined. There is something I have not yet revealed, because your heart needed peace before it could receive understanding. Many people believe that waiting means nothing is happening. But heaven often accomplishes its deepest work in seasons that appear completely still. What you have called delay has not been empty. It has been preparation. Imagine an ancient stone path winding through a quiet valley before dawn. At first, everything is wrapped in shadow. You cannot see where the road leads, and every step feels uncertain. Yet as the first light stretches across the hills, the path was never created in that moment. It was simply uncovered. In the same way, what is becoming clear in this person's heart is not being invented today. It has been forming little by little, beneath moments you thought were insignificant. I know there were days when you replayed every conversation, wondering if you had said too much, or perhaps not enough. You questioned your worth because someone else's uncertainty became a mirror that reflected your own fears. Do not carry that burden any longer. Another person's struggle to understand their emotions is not a measure of your value. Your value was settled long before this relationship ever began. It was settled at the cross, where Christ declared through his sacrifice that you are deeply loved by the Father. No human heart has the authority to rewrite what heaven has already spoken over you. When you finally embrace that truth, something remarkable begins to happen. You stop chasing confirmation. You begin living from confidence. And confidence, born from God's love, carries a quiet strength that no anxiety can imitate. The person who has occupied so much of your thoughts has reached moments when your absence spoke louder than your presence once did. There were quiet evenings when memories arrived without invitation. A familiar place, a certain song, a simple phrase, each became a gentle reminder that your connection was never as ordinary as they once believed. This does not mean they suddenly possess every answer. Hearts rarely awaken all at once. They awaken the way morning unfolds across a mountain range, first a faint glow, then a warm horizon, until finally everything that was hidden can no longer remain in darkness. That is the kind of clarity drawing near. Perhaps you have prayed, Lord, if this connection is real, why has it been so difficult? The answer is not always found in circumstances. Sometimes it is found in transformation. Think of Joseph, who spent years in places he never wished to be. The prison did not mean God had forgotten him. It became the place where character was refined before purpose was revealed. Had every door opened immediately, Joseph would have entered them unprepared. In a similar way, God has been shaping both hearts differently. One has been learning patience. The other has been learning honesty. One has been surrendering fear. The other has been discovering what truly matters. These lessons cannot be rushed. If they are, the foundation becomes too weak to carry the blessing. So do not mistake slow growth for absent growth. The tallest oak in the forest did not become strong in a single season. It endured wind, rain, heat, and long winters until its roots reached places unseen by human eyes. God often strengthens relationships the same way. Not through speed, but through depth. There is another reason I ask you to remain still. The enemy delights in convincing weary hearts to walk away moments before clarity arrives. He whispers, "Nothing will ever change. Give up. Protect yourself. Stop believing." But the voice of God is different. He does not pressure. He does not confuse. He gently reminds you, "Be still, and know that I am God." Stillness is not weakness. Stillness is trust. And trust creates room for heaven to move in ways human effort never could. As you listen to these words, you may already sense a quiet shift inside yourself. The questions that once demanded immediate answers are beginning to lose their power. That is not because you suddenly know everything. It is because peace is entering where fear once lived. And peace always sees more clearly than panic. Soon, you will begin noticing small confirmations that once escaped your attention. A conversation will carry unexpected honesty. A guarded heart will become a little more open. What once felt forced will begin to flow with surprising ease. Do not overlook these gentle signs simply because they are quiet. God often whispers before He astonishes. Before I continue, I want you to hold on to one truth with all your heart. The greatest miracle is not merely discovering how someone feels about you. The greater miracle is becoming the kind of person whose peace no longer depends on another person's uncertainty. When that transformation is complete, you will recognize something beautiful. You were never waiting only for their heart to become clear. God was also clearing your own heart, removing fear, healing old wounds, and teaching you to recognize love through His wisdom instead of through anxiety. Remain with me a little longer, because there is one hidden spiritual reality behind this connection that very few people ever recognize. Once you understand it,